Look at that, they canceled the Halo show after 2 seasons. Leading up to the release of this series, I saw people demonizing every decision and screenshot that was released. At the time, I thought the fan base was acting in bad faith. We need to at least see the first episode before saying it sucks. Well, I watched the entire show, from the beginning to its cancellation, and I can now confirm, it sucks. Yes, there are some likable things, but overall it's bad. Let's go into detail. Before I start criticizing the living hell out of this thing, I want to mention the good stuff, because there are a couple of positives. First off, I think the acting in the show ranged from decent to great. I'm not saying that the writing and dialogue was good, but everyone is putting in work. I appreciate the god-honest attempt by the cast, specifically Pablo Schreiber. In my opinion, this guy cared a lot about his role as Master Chief, and tried his best to make the show's interpretation of the iconic super soldier compelling. It was not his fault that the showrunners decided to completely negate everything the character is known for. The guy was trying to do his job to the best of his ability, and I noticed that Pablo communicated that to the very end. It felt like I was watching a pilot trying to save a doomed plane. Both engines are gone and both wings broke off ages ago, but he's gonna do everything he can to save this bitch no matter how hopeless it is. Ooh, I'm ready, glory, hallelujah! The visuals were also pretty cool. The brief moments of enjoyment I got out of the series were related to seeing iconic aspects of the game brought to life. And that's everything I liked about the show. Aw, that's not a lot. That's not a lot at all. How do you miss an easy layup like a Halo TV show? They have so many games and books with built-in lore that the showrunners could have pulled from. They could have even filled in the gaps and inconsistencies the canon is known for. That's right, Kyle and Steven, you still could have made up your own bullshit without making a new timeline. In fact, you could have fleshed out the story even more than ever before, while making your own trash canonized. Maybe even bring back a fan base that has had to watch one of their favorite franchises drag through the mud for ages now. But they didn't do that. Instead, the showrunners decided to go with a completely different timeline, so they could use a majority of their own constructed narrative and characters. That would have been totally fine if the narrative and characters had been, interesting. But they aren't. The narrative is generic, and lacks so much of the DNA that makes Halo unique that I would go as far to say that the themes of Halo are nothing but set dressing. The majority of this show could be reskinned to a Starship Troopers series, and it would make little to no difference to the overall narrative. Change the Spartans to bug-killing space marines, sprinkle in that childhood abduction plot, and boom, you basically have the same show.
The only good bug is a dead bug.
Why did they dwell on the Spartans being abducted as children? I'm not saying that plot point isn't interesting, but that should have been introduced much later, and kept as a subplot. Instead, it's the majority of what our lead talks about. A planet just got glassed, his friends have died, and this guy still brings it up. I know planetary genocide is bad, but did you know they took us as children?
As children, we were taken. Can you imagine anything more terrible?
Jesus fucking Christ. I actually like the idea of exploring Spartans' emotions. But why was it such a major focus of this show? Also, why does nothing make sense? Spoilers ahead, if you care, but you really shouldn't. The UNSC and ONI are aware that Reach is going to be attacked. For some reason, the chain of command decides to leave this huge military asset high and dry with no warning of the coming invasion, and those same higher-ups left the planet and its assets to be destroyed. When we get the explanation for why they did this, a character simply waves their hands and claims it was due to politics. What? Politics? About what? With who?
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Okay, I said the visuals are good, right? So that must mean the camera work is good too. Well, that's not totally true. Sure, some scenes have these great wide shots and are framed up exactly how you want them to be, but most of the cinematography is shaky and out of focus. So that spoiled a lot of what I liked in the visuals. Do you know what else spoiled what I liked in the visuals? Master Chief is allergic to his helmet. I wasn't one of the fans who lost their mind about the face reveal. It wasn't a good choice for the show to begin with, but I was willing to give it a chance. That was a mistake on my part. They can't go 5 seconds without Pablo taking it off, and when he does keep it on, they insist on showing reaction shots of him inside the helmet. Were you afraid that I was going to forget who this guy was? I can never forget. He's the one, and only, Master Cheeks.
Damn, son.
Thing is, I could have gotten over all of this. Everything was done poorly, but I wasn't offended, until I saw what they did with the Arbiter. How dare you massacre my boy in this way? How dare you?
You're a monster.
They basically split the Arbiter into 2 characters. One of them is a human woman who was taken by the Covenant as a child, and she handles the more cerebral part of the Arbiter's character. The other guy is a CGI mindless goon, who might as well be working for Mr. Freeze. Alright, I'm doing more ranting than I am reviewing, but I can't help it. This is what happens when you put an established IP in the hands of people who care little to nothing about what came before them. I've seen some people call this show bold because it's shocking, but the only thing that shocked me was watching Chief bang, and the fact that this woman was wearing a wig for most of the show. Why was this the most interesting reveal in the series? Why?
I don't understand. I don't understand, bitch. Don't understand. I don't understand, bitch.
There's so much more to bitch about. Quan, what they did with Oni, how they didn't include Sergeant Johnson. How am I supposed to know what the lady's like? This show was tragic from the very beginning. If by any chance one of the showrunners is watching this review, and is under the impression that the rhetoric online is what turned people against your show,
You have done that yourself.
I take no joy in shitting on anything Halo related. I wanted to love this show, and I even defended it during the first season, but I just can't do it anymore. That's it for me, and as always, thank you for your time.